Hello and welcome back to our minute repeater acoustic contest. You have now been listening to 6-minute repeating watches, all of them very exceptional just by the fact that they are minute repeaters. We have been ranking those 6 watches according to several acoustic criteria. The first one is the intensity of the sound, because what good is a minute repeater if you cannot hear it repeat anything? The second criterion is the regularity of the strike. It is the rhythm of the watch, and it has to be as constant, as regular as possible. The third criterion is the acoustic richness of the watch. It is the number of harmonics, the number of different sounds that the watch produces. They are the ones that give the watch its personality, its unique sound. And the fourth criterion is the length of each sound that the watch produces. It is the ability of the watch case and the watch movement to produce sounds that resonate for a long time. The goal of this contest is to evaluate the purely acoustic quality of each watch. We have tested them as they should sound on your wrist, you as a customer. We do not care about the watch looks, we don't care about the watch brand. The only thing that we want to judge is the sound. Let us introduce the 3 winners of our contest. Number 3 of our minute repeating contest is the Cartier Rotonde minute repeater tourbillon volant. So why is Cartier coming in third? This purple graph shows the acoustic richness of the watch. Each peak you see represents 1 note, and the more notes you have, the more acoustic richness, the more harmonics you have. The Cartier has several of those. They are very separate from each other, they're very high, but they are also backed by lower intensity notes. They act as a support, they help each note resonate in a more intense way. The second graph we use is meant for the evaluation of regularity. It is this graph. As you can see, each note does not exactly look like the previous one. They are not homogeneous at 100%. It is nevertheless a very good result, but it is not perfect yet. We now come to the criterion of sound resonance within the Cartier minute repeater. As you can see, each note has enough time to die out before the next one starts. So the resonance is quite long. It gives the watch its bell-like sound. And in that department, the Cartier is performing quite well. And the last criterion we looked at for the Cartier is sound intensity. And we measure that by looking at the height of each peak on this graph. We measure the intensity in a relative way from watch to watch, and the Cartier is quite loud. It is not the loudest though, but it is already an achievement. In second position, very close to the third one, we have the Hublot King Power carbon case minute repeater. The movement inside the Hublot wasn't born yesterday and is achieving extraordinary results, especially since they're using carbon fiber to manufacture the case. It is a very special material. So why is it performing so well? Well, what we see is on the harmonics curve, a lot of peaks on all frequencies, low and high. And even though some of them are not very loud, we now know that they work together to create a very powerful, a very rich sound. The personality of this sound is a bit low and it's very powerful. It's a macho watch and it's also quite a macho sound. In terms of intensity, the Hublot is only slightly better than the Cartier, but in all departments. For example, the intensity is a little bit higher. The length of the resonance of each sound is a little bit better. And then, of course, the regularity of the strike of the Hublot is slightly better than the Cartier. This is why it comes in second position. You've probably guessed it by now, but our number 1 is none other than the Patek Philippe 7000R. To many people, this will come as no surprise because Patek Philippe has an astounding reputation when it comes to minute repeaters. But we now see that this reputation is deserved, especially so because this watch is extremely small. So why is this watch better than all the others? Well, it is better everywhere. It is louder, it is richer, it is more regular, and each sound resonates longer within the case. Let me show you why. Look at this curve. This is the kind of curve that one might see when recording a tower bell, not a watch. It is very rich, very large, and it bellows for a long time. Second point, the frequency range that the Patek Philippe produces is extremely large. There's a lot of sounds that are quite low and a lot of sounds that are quite high. And even though you don't see many peaks, all of them are backed up by a lot of lower, not as intense sounds that give it like a pedestal and make it very, very pleasurable to listen to. This last graph shows us the regularity of the strike of the Patek Philippe 7000R. And if you look at it closely, you'll see that it is impeccably regular. This graph also tells us something about the intensity. And even though the Patek is not the loudest of all the watches we've recorded, it is very, very loud, especially because of its diameter. Please bear in mind, it is 33.6 millimeters in diameter. It's a kid's watch. So what do these results tell us about minute repeaters? First, a very established watch brand that has been manufacturing minute repeater movements for a very long time does not necessarily perform really well when you look at it from an objective point of view. For example, the Audemars Piguet is barely audible. Lesson number 2, one can decide to become a minute repeater manufacturer. All they have to do is be very smart and very demanding, and it is exactly what Cartier has done. The third lesson this contest is teaching us is that there is not one single recipe for success when it comes to minute repeaters. There doesn't exist a single material that can be pointed out as the best. There is not a mechanism that can be pointed out as being the best. It's a combination of a lot of factors, experience, materials, and setting that make it a very, very special complication. Last but not least, let's bear in mind that any watch is an emotional product, and especially so when it comes to minute repeaters. Having 6 minute repeaters all at once, at the same time, available for chiming is a very rare and privileged experience. It is a great opportunity to compare them according to objective and scientific criteria. But let us not forget that a watch is an emotional product, intensely so, especially when it comes to minute repeaters. So whatever the results of this little study, please bear in mind that there is no absolute truth when it comes to sound. The one you prefer, personally, emotionally, is probably the best. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening to us. Make sure you come back for more because we have a lot in store when it comes to minute repeaters. Hope to see you around.